For years now, studies have shown that over half of Americans set a New Year's resolution. But if you clicked on this video, you might be part of the other half of Americans that think that New Year's resolutions are a waste of time. You might be here to rag on those people, or you may be low-key hating on yourself because you've set one this year. Either way, we know that 23% of New Year's resolutions are done by January 7th. Another 45% are down the drain by February 1st. But if you can make it to that 1 month mark, that drop-off line starts leveling off. There's a much slower 12% drop between that first month and the third month, and only a 3% drop between there and the 6-month mark. But you're not here for success stories. Let's talk failures. I kick people out of therapy and fire my coaching clients on a fairly regular basis because some people just aren't ready for change. That's fine. Come back and see me when you are. The same holds true for New Year's resolutions. Readiness for change refers to an individual's willingness and preparedness to modify their behaviors, adopt new practices, or pursue professional or personal goals. This is often referred to in the behavioral science literature as the Transtheoretical Model for Change. The model outlines 5 key stages for change, which sit on a continuum of psychological and behavioral states. Now, depending on where you are, New Year's resolutions may or may not be for you. I'm Dr. Jamie, licensed clinical psychologist and behavioral scientist who has spent the last 10 years focusing on human performance and optimization. All right, I'm just gonna put it out there. Some people are not ready to change. In that change model we just discussed, this is called pre-contemplation. This is when people aren't even aware that they need to change, or they're just in straight denial of what needs to happen. People in this stage of change also say they have no intention of changing. These are people that say, I don't need to exercise, I feel fine. Or I could quit scrolling, but then I'll have to talk to my boyfriend. Without an increased awareness of the benefits of changing, these people are just gonna roll with the status quo. So if you're here, you have 2 options. First, call it a year. Your New Year's resolution was to have no New Year's resolution and you succeeded. See you next year. Or you can research and learn and understand the benefits of this change and consider if change is for you. If it is, welcome to the second stage of change, contemplation. That's when you're thinking about it, you don't know if you want to change or how you want to change. So if you find yourself toying with the idea of a New Year's resolution, knowing your personal values is key because it's easier to do things that are related to what you find important. It's kind of how it's easier for me to write this entire YouTube script for a YouTube channel that I really care about than it is for me to write the 3rd technical report on the same leadership behavior data that I put in the last 2 technical reports that nobody read and that I don't care about. Organizational change is on a whole other level, and this organization is clearly not ready to change. But I digress. You are more likely to be internally motivated when those actions align with your values. This is why selecting goals that are consistent with your values decreases resolution failure rate. When you've carefully considered and selected your resolution based on what you want to do and what's important to you, sometimes the issue is that you don't know how to do it. So let's find the potholes here. First, what is it? No, seriously, what are you trying to do here? I've spent most of my adult life working within military organizations, and they call this the desired end state. Let's be very clear on what you want to do. So clear that you can write it down in 1 sentence. Don't worry, I'll give you the sentence. I know that I blank when blank before blank. Let me give you some examples. I know that I am physically fit when I can deadlift 200 pounds 3 times by October 1st of 2025. Or, I know that I am physically fit when I can comfortably move my arms in a size 6 blazer by my trip to Tokyo in March of 2025. Now, write that down. No, seriously. There's some empirical evidence that actually writing down your New Year's resolution helps to increase the likelihood that you'll actually meet that resolution. So write it down. I'll wait a second. That is a simple, hater-friendly way of getting at those SMART goals people are always talking about. In this sentence, you're being specific and measurable. You're also being relevant because you're only identifying resolutions that are relevant and important to you based on that last step when we talked about your values. And the last part of that sentence tackles being time-bound. Now, what about that attainable piece? Well, if you're thinking about what you can and can't do, welcome to the action phase of a New Year's resolution. What we consider attainable can vary greatly. One science-based way to increase what you think you can do is to develop self-efficacy. This is a specific type of confidence that you get primarily from gathering evidence of your own previous successes. It's kind of like when you need the experience to get the job, but you can't get the experience if you can't get a job. Well, in this example, your job is your life and you're in charge, so give yourself a chance. In order to build self-efficacy, you have to do something. Take that first tiny action step. Your brain will register that small win and then start collecting those W's. That pot of experience will help build your self-efficacy, making it easier for you to take on the next step and the step after that, and the step after that. Now, building these small wins requires you breaking down these large New Year's resolutions into small, manageable chunks. Otherwise, you'll be asking yourself where the year went as you're watching the ball drop this time next year. Now, I'm trying to rack up these self-efficacy points as quickly as I can. So I want to get my resolutions down to the smallest, most basic action unit. That might be monthly, weekly, or daily actions. Bonus points if you could get it all the way down to daily actions, because daily actions are particularly easy to monitor and measure as you move forward. If you don't ask yourself, what do I need to be doing every month, every week, and every day to get toward my resolution, your chances of success plummet. So let's build a roadmap instead. Going back to our fitness examples, which by the way, happen to be the most common New Year's resolutions in the US. If your goal is to deadlift 200 pounds by October, and you currently lift 160 pounds, you have 10 months to increase your 3-rep max by 40 pounds. On a monthly basis, you'll need to identify your focus at the gym. Every week, you'll need to do 1 deadlift focus session and 1 session focused on auxiliary work. And every day, you'll need to hit your protein goals. That's still not clear enough to ensure consistent action. In fact, some people get even more stressed when they start to break down their resolutions like this, which is why some people choose to get off the bus here. If you want to keep writing, let's get super specific so that it's super easy for you to do the right thing. All right, my sleeves are up. We're getting down into the nitty-gritty. Month 1, build a base. Month 2, increase volume. Month 3, focus on speed. 3 to 4, this is the level of specificity you need to meet your goals. All right, months, done. Now to weeks. Here's an example of what that weekly plan might look like. You actually want to break down what you're going to be doing each week inside of each monthly goal. Get down to the actual number of reps, the actual weights, the specific exercises that you'll be doing. And don't stop at the deadlift work. Also, fill in your auxiliary plan. You know what you'll do, and now let's write down when you'll do it and where you'll do it. A lot of New Year's resolutions fall flat in this regard. Even if you think about why you're doing it, if you don't have all of the W's, the who, what, where, why, and when, you're not setting yourself up for success. Do it. All right, weekly planning, done. Let's go down to daily. Daily goals. Eat 120 grams of protein. Well, that's lovely. But how am I supposed to know if I hit that goal? Essential to this final stage of keeping your New Year's resolutions is ensuring some sort of maintenance or accountability is built into your action plan. This is how you keep it going once you've started. Now, remember way back in the beginning of the video when I told you that the trick is to keep it going for 3 to 6 months? Well, if you want to keep it going for the long run, you need to listen carefully to what comes next, or you'll be part of the 81% of people that fall off by the 2-year mark. Track your progress. Tracking your progress helps you build that self-efficacy that we've already talked about. And by the way, thank you so much for sticking around to this point. You clearly like this kind of thing, so take a second and tap that subscribe button. It's cool, I'll wait, and I need another sip of coffee. Tracking your progress builds that self-efficacy, but it also lets you see when you're starting to fall off. This information is vital to your continued success. Part of behavioral change is knowing that change is not a straight line. You will fall off, you will stumble, you will be imperfect, and that is totally okay. In fact, that is expected, and what we can anticipate, we can plan for. Studies on behavioral change have found that identifying obstacles and then having contingency plans to deal with or overcome those obstacles increases the chances that you'll stay on course. Pre-plan for some roadblocks, that's awesome. But also take note of unanticipated barriers. This is valuable information that you can use to develop new contingency plans. And these plans will be even more precise and more individualized to you, making them more effective. If you're interested in how I set up my 2025 goals, check out this video right here. And if you're interested in more ways to design your life to get what you want without sacrificing your mental health, consider subscribing to this channel. There's construction happening outside, dogs are barking.